Hello everyone and welcome to This Explainer. Today we're zeroing in on an absolute icon, and I mean literally, a franchise anchor that somehow still gets slept on. We're talking about Bulbasaur. Now, I don't want us to just look at this guy as a nostalgic little pixelated buddy from 1996. No way. Today, we're going to unpack this character as a total masterclass in functional, enduring design.
I mean, just think about that number for a second. 0, 0, 1. The heavy lifting that comes with being the very first entry in what is now a massive multi-billion-dollar Pokédex is absolutely wild. Out of the 1,000-plus creatively designed creatures we have today, this one specific monster had to set the baseline. It had to establish the entire aesthetic and welcome players into a completely uncharted world. It's literally the foundation of an empire. So that brings up the million-dollar question, doesn't it? Is the very first Pokémon actually the best Pokémon? Look, if you grew up in the late 90s, you definitely had this argument on the playground. You're presented with 3 choices: a fire lizard, a water turtle, or a little green plant frog right here. Did the creators actually strike gold on their very first try? Well, by the end of this explainer, you might just find yourself totally rethinking your childhood starter choice.
Number 1, the first Pokémon. Let's get right into it. To really understand this character, we have to look at where it all started. Before the global phenomenon, this was just a concept sitting on a developer's desk over in Japan. Originally, it was called Fushigi Dane. The folks at Game Freak did something really clever here. They combined Fushigi, which means mystery or miracle, with Tane, meaning seed. Right off the bat, it frames the creature as something magical. It's not just a wild animal, it's an inherently botanical, literal miracle seed.
But you know, when Nintendo was gearing up to bring these games to American audiences back in 1998, they hit a bit of a roadblock. They needed to localize the names so Western kids could instantly connect with them, and their solution was just brilliant marketing. They went with a super descriptive portmanteau: bulb, pointing directly to that big garlic-shaped plant on its back, and soar to give it that dinosaur vibe. All of a sudden, this abstract mystery seed transforms into a really tangible, easy-to-grasp hybrid for a totally new audience.
Conception, the frog plant miracle. Okay, so the actual visual design process at Game Freak is super fascinating and honestly kind of backward to how you'd think this stuff works. You'd naturally assume a designer starts with a tiny, cute version and just makes it bigger and tougher, right? Well, actually, scratch that. Character designer Atsuko Nishida worked entirely in reverse. She started out by designing the massive, fully evolved beast Venusaur. From there, she worked backward to the awkward teenage middle stage Ivysaur, and finished up by designing the adorable, accessible base form of Bulbasaur. The whole evolutionary line was specifically engineered to show a creature getting more and more dangerous as the plant on its back blossoms.
Now, hold on to that soar part of its English name for a second. The dinosaur connection? Yeah, prepare to have your mind blown. Lead artist Ken Sugimori, the guy who finalized the unified look for all the original game's creatures, explicitly confirmed that the design is actually based on frogs. So despite having a reptilian English name, its true anatomical roots are totally amphibian. Crazy, right? So, what makes this design really sing is how these 2 distinct concepts, the frog and the plant, actually work together in-universe. It rocks a dual grass and poison elemental typing, which is cool, but the real magic is all in the bulb. According to the game's encyclopedia, the Pokédex, this seed is planted on its back right at birth and grows alongside it like a buddy. It literally acts as a living solar panel, soaking up bright sunlight to grow. And because that bulb stores so much energy, the creature can go for days without eating a single bite of food. It is just this perfect, seamless synergy of flora and fauna.
Beyond games, a media star. You know, a design this solid just couldn't be kept locked inside a 1996 Game Boy cartridge. It was destined for more. After making its grand debut in the Japanese red and green video games, it jumped straight onto our TVs the very next year, in 1997. In the anime, Bulbasaur became one of Ash Ketchum's absolute ride-or-die companions, sticking by his side for 4.5 years, and the momentum never stopped. Fast forward a couple of decades to 2019, and this character is carrying scenes in a huge Hollywood blockbuster, Detective Pikachu, fully realized in incredible 3D CGI. Actually, one of my absolute favorite behind-the-scenes facts from that movie is how they managed to bring it to life. To figure out how it would move in a live-action setting, the filmmakers literally studied real-life bulldogs. Think about it. They needed to perfectly nail that wobbly, top-heavy waddle that comes from lugging a massive bulb on your back. They used that dog reference before the puppeteers and CGI teams even got to work.
Legacy of the unsung hero.
But here's the thing.
Despite the immense success, despite being #1, and despite being a total TV star, Bulbasaur still kind of carries this underdog reputation. Why is that? Well, historically, it's always been seen as playing second fiddle to the fire-breathing Charmander and the water-spraying Squirtle. And honestly, a huge part of that just boils down to marketing luck. When the games went international outside of Japan, they were packaged as Pokémon Red and Blue. That meant the final evolutions for fire and water got prime real estate right on the box art, leaving Venusaur completely off the retail shelves. Because of that one decision, the grass-type line just missed out on that crucial early spotlight with international kids scanning the game aisles.
But hey, do not let that initial box art snub fool you for a second. The sheer scale of its real-world impact is staggering. We're not just talking about those little plastic fast food toys at McDonald's and Burger King, though we all loved those. We're talking about a custom popcorn flavor over in Singapore. We're talking about giant commercial ANA, Boeing 767 airplanes with its face painted right on the side. It was officially tapped as a mascot for Japan in the 2014 FIFA World Cup. It's literally stamped onto legal tender coins on the nation of Niue. Oh, and there's a permanent, real-life public statue of it in Suzano, Brazil. Plus, if you really wanted to flex in 2021, you could have picked up a highly limited luxury Seiko watch inspired by it. I mean, that is straight-up global domination.
And you know what? The fans never forgot that underdog story either. A super passionate grassroots movement actually exploded online to defend it. Somebody even set up a Twitter account purely dedicated to spreading what fans hilariously dubbed Bulbaganda. It was this massive, concentrated effort to hype up the character and remind everyone just how great it is, and the idea spread like wildfire. But if you want the ultimate vindication, you have to go straight to the top. Junichi Masuda, the series producer and director who has literally been there since day one, actually went on the record saying Bulbasaur is the best starter, hands down. He pointed out the incredibly cute design and said that the brilliant monster-plant combo exemplifies exactly what the whole franchise means to him. That is some serious high praise. So here we are, right back where we started. A miracle seed, an amphibian marvel, an underdog that got snubbed on a box cover but still became beloved enough to inspire luxury watches, public statues, and the deep, deep admiration of its very own creators. So I have to ask, does the unsung hero of 1996 finally deserve the crown today? Well, I'm gonna let you be the judge of that, but I really hope this explainer gave you a totally new appreciation for the absolute magic of number 001. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and as always, keep learning.